Hello, good morning, and welcome to Montague Island Books number 37. Now, this is the third and final of our Christmas specials. For our regular viewers, or I was going to say readers, regular viewers, you'll know that we had Donna and Linda on our first session, who were sort of set up their own sort of book groups and sort of blogs and things like that. And then last week we had Adrian and Rebecca from Hobeck Books, who are publishers. Well, on this show, we've got two very special guests who I am used to actually seeing them interviewing other people. So it does seem a bit weird for me to be interviewing them. And they do more interviews than I've had hot dinners, really do. I thought Donna had done a lot, but these two go that extra mile. And they are both admins for the UK Crime Book and do a lot of, UK Crime Book Club. And they do an awful lot for the sort of crime authors and for the crime book community. And it is Sam Brownley and Caroline Maston. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Joe. Thank you for having us.
Great to have you, and thanks for agreeing to come on. So obviously it's Montague Island Books, but what we'll do first of all is we'll have a little chat with you both and just find out for those very few people that have never heard of UK Crime Book Club and maybe have never seen your videos, but there's very few people that'll be because I think most people will have seen them at some point. But anyway, Sam, do you want to go first? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Sam Brownley. I am absolutely terrified of being interviewed. We just know that the tinsel's going to go at some point and Joe's going to be bleeping out the bad words as I knock everything over.
Yeah.
I am admin for the UK Crime Book Club, have been for a couple of years. It's the best thing ever. It is the best thing ever. I get to read books and talk to authors and people that I've been fans of for years before the book club. I've been able to interview. I'm from Manchester. I've been married for nearly 20 years and I've got 3 kids. I'm working on my debut novel very, very slowly.
But it's still progressing. Is it still going?
It's going.
Forward? Yeah.
Off a cliff, it's going. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thanks for that. And Caroline, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am Caroline Maston. I am an admin and co-founder of the UK Crime Book. It sounds way fancier than it is, but my dad set it up, so I didn't get a choice. I love it, same as Sam. It's excellent, and I love Sam being my partner in crime.
Absolutely.
As well, that makes it even better. I do this as a second job alongside my first job of being a teacher, which is a bit mental. I live in Leeds. I've also been married nearly 20 years.
Great. Wonderful. So do you want to start by, as a co-founder, for those, as I say, that don't know about UKCBC, do you want to put in a nutshell what it's about and what happens and what goes on?
The whole point of it when we set it up was to make a group that championed UK crime authors. So anyone from the UK crime writing community, they don't need to necessarily set the books in the UK, but they just need to be an author from there or writing in the UK. And that's the point of it. We run author chats to help raise the profile of people. We run online festivals. We have a newsletter. We do a quiz. We just try to keep things going. We've done charity events.
Brilliant. And tell us a bit about your membership, because you've got quite a big membership that are sort of spread worldwide, really.
Yeah, we have over 20,000 members. Do you know how much it is at the moment, Sam?
I think it's somewhere around 20.3 thousand.
Yeah, it is. I've got it. I've got the page open. 20.3.
Yeah. The UK is obviously our largest one, but America and India are very highly represented with memberships as well.
Great.
Feel the need to say hello to Steve Munoz. Hi, Steve, because he is probably our biggest supporter over in California. So, hi, Steve.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
whatever time. Well, it's probably the middle of the night now, but I'm sure he'll watch it. He'll be watching it on YouTube once it gets uploaded.
And as well in America, isn't there?
Yeah, that's it. So tell us a little bit. Well, maybe you want to do this one, Sam. Tell us a bit about some of the, because I know there's been some really big ones, but some of the festivals that you've run sort of online within the group.
So yesterday was our Winterfest, first one. Kaz worked really hard putting that together. Kept coming to me and saying, "What do you think of this idea?" Yep, great. And off she went and organised everything.
Great.
Spookfest we have. What else do we have, Carol? Bank Holiday Festival we have.
Yeah, the Bank Holiday Festival.
August.
You with different sort of. I think if I remember rightly, the Bank Holiday was like different crimes, wasn't it? You had like a gangland crime and cozy crime. And
yeah. We tried to vary it, and that way we can involve as many different authors as possible.
And we have May Bank Holiday as well.
Yeah, I knew there was another one earlier in the year, but this is what I was worried about. Somebody asking me something. I have the worst memory in the world. I have notes for everything.
That's great. And also, I believe there's been, well, I know of at least one publication that the group's done. And obviously that's raised great money for charity. Go on, Sam, show us it. I know you've got it to hand. There we go. So would one of you, I'm not sure who knows the most because you're both very knowledgeable on this, but what do one of you want to sort of tell us a bit about that journey?
That's more Sam. I do the festival, Sam Small.
Well, Kaz took the cover photo, and Kath Middleton and Will Templeton, they had the massive mammoth task of screening the stories, editing, proofreading, choosing the ones that they thought were the best fit, and it's over 400 pages, and it's an absolute bargain. I don't know what the current price is. I should have checked. I should have known that you'd ask, Christian. but yeah, we're to 420 pages of stories.
And I think you can get it on Amazon. I've got a copy somewhere, but I'm just not sure where it is at the minute. But I think I got mine on Amazon. Is that the right place?
Sam is in it. She's very casually not mentioning that she's in it.
Yeah, go on, Sam. Tell us a little bit about. Well, give us a general overview on the different stories, and then tell us a little bit about yours. And you can read us a bit of yours if you want.
Have you heard me speak? I did do a recording, and I deleted it after about a month of it being up. You know, one of the author readings, because this is how I sound, and then I try and do a different accent, and it's no. As like Mike Raven takes the mickey out of me. Tilly, he keeps saying to me, and like, you know, saying different words in my accent. But I'll just tell you who's in it. So Andy Barrett, Ben Bruce, T.G. Campbell, Brian W. Caves, Lexi Cunningham, M.W. Craven, Robert Crouch, Jan Edwards, Tony J. Forder, Susan Hanley, Michael Kerr, John Mayhew, Kath Middleton, Wilf Morgan, Barbara Norrie, Cecilia Petrie, John Penfold, Jack Probin, Will Templeton, Sam Thomas, Bill Todd and Paula Williams, and they're just such a variety of stories. I was quite pleased that the emojis that I got from Will when I submitted my story were like the scared ones of like, but you look so sweet, and then this is your story. So that's I enjoyed that. I enjoyed shocking him.
Brilliant. So tell us give us an overview of your story.
I can't remember.
Don't worry.
Kind of a former hit woman called Josie, who is hoping to move onwards and upwards, and something different happens. I wish I'd have picked out the section. I'm a huge Mark Billingham fan, and I managed to squeeze a bit of kind of a little glimpse of something to do with Mark Billingham into the story, but I don't know what page I'm on, and I'm kind of panicking now. So,
oh, don't worry, don't.
But there's swearing in it, so I maybe couldn't read that bit anyway. But I was very proud of it.
Just for anyone that is interested, you can get it on Amazon. And if you've got Kindle Unlimited, it's included in your subscription. Now, I was going to say it's free, but it's not free. It's included in your subscription. Or you can buy it for your Kindle for £2.49. And it's available in paperback for £9.99. So that tells us a bit about that. So was that the first sort of anthology that you put together, Caroline? Or has there been anything sort of gone out of the...
I believe the words "never again" were uttered.
The words "never again" have been uttered. It's the first one. It kind of arose from the regular shorts we have in the group, which have always been a thing that people have really enjoyed, and I think make our group quite unique in that authors share for free short stories in the group quite regularly. So we're currently having Santa's shorts. In the run up to the fest, we have a summer one and a spooky one as well that Will organises, and then Will and Kath and Sam suggested the anthology, and we thought it was a really good idea, and we sort of tied it with some other charity things, but it's a lot of work and never again.
And just before we move on from that, just Sam, tell us about the charity, because I know it did raise some great money for charity as well.
Well, this was more Kaz. So Simon, who's a group member, Simon Farrant, his son goes to Red Kite Academy in Corby in Northants, and they're raising money still for a sensory room. Am I right, Kaz?
Yeah.
Feel free to chip in at any point to say stop it.
So they're a really good school. He's raised money for them before for various things, and working at a special school, I know that the funding doesn't go as far as you want, so a lot of fundraising has to happen. And we've given them about £4,000 to date, and they're using it for a sensory room.
Brilliant. That's amazing too. So you've not only given people the pleasure and enjoyment of being able to read the anthology stories, you've also made some great money for charity as well. So that's really good. And as you say about the shorts as well that you put on, the great selection. And you also get quite a lot of readings as well, don't you? On the group, there's all kinds of different authors will come on and read a bit of a book, as well as being sort of interviewed by you both as well at the time. So you've got lots of things going on. I'm sure you've got lots more planned for 2022, but we'll look forward to hearing about them. So what we'll do now is, if you both got your suitcases ready, we will start packing you ready for your trip to Montague Island. Now, for those that haven't seen this show before, Montague Island Books, I'll just give a little bit of an explanation. So basically, this came about last year through reading Mike Craven's The Curator. Mike, obviously a member of the group as well. So, and part of the story is set on a fictitious island off the coast of Cumbria called Montague Island. So that's where I come up with the idea from, and it's like Desert Island Disc, but for books is the way I always sort of put it. And what you do is you'll both be taking 7 of your favourite books with you, and you'll also take some other things which we'll go through as we go through your selections. Now, on the island, we believe that there is about an hour a day of electricity. And also on the island, there will be a Kindle, which is preloaded with all of Mike Craven books in homage to Mike for creating the island.
I was going to say, how did you manage to swing that one? He gets everywhere, that Craven.
I know, doesn't he just? And then he makes us wait for a year for another book to come out. Anyway, we'll start looking at your selections. So, Caroline, first of all, do you want to tell us about your first choice?
This is where it's good that it's fictitious, that we're going to an abandoned island with no electricity, because I don't do things like that. My first choice of a book is Tomorrow When the War Began by John Marsden.
And what is it about? Tell us a little bit about the book and why you've chosen that one.
So it was one of my favourite books from when I was a child. It's about a group of teens that go on holiday to this kind of area in Australia that's quite deserted. While they're there camping for a couple of days, the country's invaded. When they come back out, all of their families are sort of in camps and things like that. And they're obviously hidden. So they have to go back to where they were, and then they're trying to sort of survive that thing. As an adult, I discovered it was a whole book series, which was marvelous. So I managed to go back and read the whole thing again, and I've just read it loads of times. I love it. It's great.
And how did you find it reading it as when you're younger and read it as an adult? Did you sort of get a different perspective on it?
I think you do. There's another book on here that I read very young and love as an adult as well.
Great.
And I think you do. I think you take very different things from them, but that makes it more special when you go back and read it.
Definitely, yeah. That's great. So that's great. First choice from you. And what about you, Sam? What's your first one in the suitcase going to be?
Heidi. And I'm not actually sure that I'm going to say the author's name right, because one thing I found from doing the author chats is that I think somebody's called something and then they're not. You know, Gillian Flynn, for example, wouldn't have known it was Gillian until Will Dean said it, and then I was like, right, need to remember that. So Joanna Spira, but I don't know if it is, but anyway, Heidi. Heidi, I'm really going to regret half the things I'm going to say being recorded, but I'm going for it. So I used to have a cabin bed in my bedroom, and I used to fold my quilt up at the end to turn it into Heidi's loft, because she moves in with a grandfather on the Swiss Alps and just runs up and down all day eating cheese on a mountain with shepherds. And I mean, what's not to like about this? What is not to like about living in the Alps in this hut, and the only little space for her is in the loft where all the hay is, so she turns it into a bed, and that was what I did. And I used to just lie there reading this book over and over and over again. I loved it so much. Brilliant. Must have read it 1,000 times. I've used it to get reluctant readers to read, and when I was a teaching assistant. I love the book. Absolutely love it. I have bought it again on my Kindle because I'm looking for a certain book cover that I had when I was a child and I can't find it. So either I've completely got the wrong idea in my head, or, which is quite likely.
Well, it's a great story. So now, you never know, there might be someone out there watching who knows this book cover. So tell us a little bit more about the book cover.
It was a hardback with a brown spine, and Heidi was a blonde girl on the cover, and she was really up at the front, and then the Alps were in the background. Oh,
so it was still a Heidi story, but it was just a particular.
There's so many covers. If you Google it and you look, there's there's a good 50 covers, if not more, as different publishers have taken it on.
Yeah, great. And I know what you mean as well about the names, particularly when it's a character's name in a book, and you've read all the way through the book and you've got this version in your own head of a name, and you find out at a later stage that you've got the name totally different.
I've got another one of those on my list, actually.
Oh, well, we'll look forward to coming to that. So Heidi is a great choice. So Caroline, what's your second book?
So my second book is one that's influential to me, because you said pick things that were influential as well.
Definitely. Go on. So what's that?
My second book is Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. Oh, great. Well,
it's going to come as literally no surprise to anyone who knows me, because I am obsessed with dinosaurs. I love them. And I love this book. I love that it's really scientifically accurate. You could actually clone a dinosaur doing the method that there is.
For my next pick, I've cloned a dinosaur.
But here's where I follow it up with, it is a little bit influential in what I chose to study at university.
So go on, tell us all what you chose to study at university.
Human genetics.
Wow, And I suppose that also links into the crime as well, because of like DNA and all that kind of stuff. So I suppose it links your childhood into your university, into your sort of your current hobby, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what was it that sort of, when you initially read that book, what was it that got you? Was it just the fact that it was about dinosaurs and it was something that could happen, or was there something else in the story that really sort of got you?
I think the fact that it could happen, that I knew enough when I read it. So I read it as a teenager when I was starting to get interested in genetics. So I knew enough to know that it actually was relatively accurate. And then when they came out with cloning Dolly the sheep, which was
Yeah.
a few years after I think I'd read it, they actually used the technique.
Right. So yeah. So it's all down to Dolly the sheep as well. Yeah, that's great. And it's just like what do you, obviously most people have, maybe not everybody's read the book, but most people have probably seen the film. How do you compare the book to the film? Is there any comparison?
Oh, that's a good question.
It is a good question, isn't it? I like both, to be fair. And I've got a friend who I saw yesterday who goes absolutely mental at me because when I say my favourite dinosaur is a velociraptor, she's like, it's not the one off Jurassic Park. They're not the real version. I'm like, I don't care. It's a Jurassic Park one. And we have this debate constantly.
But it's great as well that you like both, because normally when people have read the book, they don't like the film, generally speaking.
There's two books, and my DVD choice is the other one, where I like both the film and the book.
We'll wait to hear that. Have you got any Sam like that you feel that the sort of you like both the book and the film, or does the book always win?
Yeah, that leads nicely into the next segment.
Go
on. A few years ago, a long time ago, over a decade ago, a friend lent me a copy of Cecilia Ahern's P.S. I Love You. Now, that is not the book I'm going to choose, so don't write it down yet. But that led to me finding my love of reading again. I had very small children, husband away in the army, quite a stressful time. But she lent me two books. She lent me a Karen Slaughter book, which I didn't read because I didn't like grisly crime. What happened? And P.S. I Love You. So she told me to keep it because I loved it so much. So I went and found all of the other Cecilia Ahern books, and there is one called If You Could See Me Now. Oh, just the thought of this book. So I haven't actually got a copy of it here. It must be another one. It's one that I lend out and never get back.
Yeah.
So I buy more and more copies. I've probably kept Cecilia Ahern afloat over the years. So Elizabeth Egan is too busy for friends, as a reluctant mother to a sister, and this is where it came in. Saoirse, and it's spelled Saoirse. Well, you can imagine the fun I had with that one, but I did eventually find out she's called Saoirse, unless somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong.
So have you looked into that name? Because that's a name I've never heard beyond what it means.
It's an Irish name, I think. Is it an Irish name? I'm sure it's an Irish name. Yeah, it is. Cecilia Ahern's Irish. See, this is where I panic and say stupid things. I need to slow myself down. So basically, this young lady takes on her wayward sister's son, and then it's the whole history of where the mother went and the father raised them, and there's just so much in it. And then it ends with
no spoilers.
Ivan, who is an imaginary friend, but she can't see him, and once she does see him, love comes into life. Well, he's imaginary, so only certain people can see him, and only children are supposed to be able to see him, because she's an adult. I'm not explaining this well, but I would recommend everybody reads it, because it really was a huge thing for me.
Great. And did you say that's one that's been made into a film as well?
P.S. I Love You was the one that's been made into a film, and I love equally the film, which has Gerard Butler in it, and the book. both equally beautiful and will make you cry. I tend to avoid
Right.
things that make me cry because everything makes me cry. But yeah, just I sobbed like ugly cry, you know, really,
Yeah.
really going for it. It's heartbreaking, but it's just, you can't stop reading it, you can't stop watching it.
That's great, because that's put me on to another idea now. Just this isn't to do with your choices, but this is something separate. Is there any book or anything on TV that's made you laugh and cry?
Oh. Is this what we do to people, Kaz? Do we put people on the spot like this?
Yeah,
I'm so
maybe
sorry,
not as bad as
everyone.
me. I'm a bit ruthless, but because I don't tell you the question before.
I can't think of any that have done both.
I can, but I just can't think what it is. Oh, okay. The Five by Harlan Coben.
Right. What was that, a book or?
It wasn't a book. I'd hoped it was after I'd watched it, and it wasn't. And it's a 10-part series. And yeah, I laughed, I cried. It's just the most wonderful thing. So much so that once it wasn't, I couldn't find it anywhere, and then I found it and bought it. So I can watch it whenever I want. And I do. I watch it on my phone in bed. I'll watch it on the TV. I just love it. And like different bits of it will come back to me at different times. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got
great.
one now because you answered first.
Go on.
Terry Pratchett. Any of his books, they make
Like,
you laugh. And
any of them?
Well, any of his books make you laugh, but the last one makes you laugh and cry.
Right, right. So I won't ask you to go into that because you might give some spoils away. I've only got one that I can think of. Well, yeah, probably one that I can think of, and that was a television series, and I can't think of the name of it, but it's the one with Ricky Gervais where his wife dies.
Afterlife.
Afterlife. That's it.
I've not seen it, but I've seen the
Yeah,
advert.
that's the only. That's one of the like things that makes me laugh and cry at the same time.
I know there's other things. I just can't think what they are. As soon as you hit stop on this, I'll be like, oh,
yeah,
this one and this one.
Yeah, but anyway, that was an aside. Anyway, so we've got If You Could See Me Now as your second choice, Sam. So Caroline, what's your third choice going to be?
My third choice is possibly my favourite book of all time.
Ooh. And you read a lot of books.
This one I have numerous copies of, and I have broken copies because I've read it so many times.
Go on.
I can quote chunks of it by heart, and it's Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights, great.
Emily Bronte.
So, what is it about that book that gets you every time?
I think it's the concept of that all-consuming love that's not perfect, if you know what I mean. So it's messy and bad for you, but also everything that you want.
Okay, and I'm going to put you on the spot now. Favourite quote?
I am Heathcliff.
Ooh, that's deep, that, isn't it? That's great, wonderful. I like it. So Wuthering Heights, so one of the classics. So nice to see that in your selection. So Sam, what's your number 3 going to be?
Anyone who knows me will have heard me go on and on and on about this book. It was my number 1 of the year last year.
You
both nodding. It's one of those books that speaks to your soul, and I just love it so much. A Long Way From Home by Brian W. Caves. This was my favourite book last year. I've had the privilege of reading a bit of book 2.
Ooh.
So Brian, hurry up. But yeah, set in southern Georgia, and it's just there just aren't words for how much I love this book. So a former policeman becomes a PI. His best friend dies suddenly, and he is summoned by his best friend's sister down to the deep south because her daughter's missing, and she knows how much her brother trusted Tom Bale, and she wants his help in finding the daughter. and it is horrifying and haunting and heartening, and every cliche
Every
you can
emotion.
think of, every emotion. The book itself isn't a cliche. I'm a walking cliche when I try and talk about it, because it makes me really emotional thinking of it, and it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and not enough people have read it. So there you go. A long way from home.
It's on my TBR. I saw all your posts last year, and it's on my TBR list, but I've not got round to it yet. But
it's another one that I've bought copies of for people.
Yeah, but I've got
from me as well, so it's a good read.
Yeah. So when's book 2 coming out?
Not finished it yet. It needs to get a move on. He's been writing another series, so
give him a nudge. Yeah,
I do.
So that is the third choice from you both. So Caroline, what's your book number 4 that you're taking to the island?
So my book number 4 is another one of my all-time favourites, and it's the other one I said that I'd read as a child and love as an adult, because I first read it when I remember getting the primary school teacher not believing me that it was my favourite book when I was about 10.
Wow.
And it's Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger.
Wow, another classic book.
Yeah.
So, and you've read it as an adult as well, you say, yeah?
I've read it possibly at least yearly.
Wow.
I've read it numerous times. My favourite books I've read multiple times. I love Catcher in the Rye.
But then again, you do read, what, 300 plus books a year, don't you? So you soon get through. It's about 300 this year you've done?
No, 250.
Only 250.
Only 200. I don't even know how many I've read this year. You're really slacking this year, Kaz.
I know. Like I said, that it's a slow year for me. I've been busy doing other things.
Don't know. It's like you're reading. You can read like normal, like a book a day. I don't know you do it, but great. Anyway, tell us more about why Catcher in the Rye. Why you keep going back to it.
I think I love books where the characters feel real to you, and Holden feels real as a person. He's a disaffected youth. You sort of find out more about him as he goes. When I was little, I wanted the dream job that he has, where he says he wants to be the catcher in the rye and be the person who catches the small children running through the field. That was my dream job. I think every time you go back to it, you find something new. It's one of those really rich books full of layers that I've read it like multiple times, and I read it about a year ago and found something I'd never read before.
Brilliant. And I think that is the thing as well. And it's another connection, because with like character-driven books, you do tend to be able to read them again and again and pick different books. And I think that's a case in a lot of the crime books that you review and you talk about as well, because a lot of them are character-driven, and so there's like, I can see like a connection coming from there as well, which is probably what got you interested in so much in crime, because there's some amazing sort of stories out there. But yeah, great choice and another classic. So Sam, what's your book number 4?
Paulo Grady. At My Mother's Knee and Other Low Joints. This I howled reading. I love this man. He is an absolute genius. And as Lily Savage, he was, who didn't love Blankety Blank with Lily Savage? Did you ever watch it, Kaz? No, I knew you wouldn't have done. Joe, you must have watched it.
I did. Sam, reading, I don't know if it's that book I've read, but I've read one of it. When you're reading it, don't you get his voice in your head?
Yeah, Birkenhead through and through, running through your head, absolutely.
It's like he's narrating it to you.
Yeah, and he's just, look how knackered this book is. I don't know if you can see, but it's falling apart. Absolutely love it. I didn't think I would. I think it was probably one of the first autobiographies I ever read. If not the first, it was a long time ago, and he's an absolute genius.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
There's photos in it, and it's just so funny.
So what is the best, what would you sort of say, in your opinion, is the sort of best bit about it? Is it the Lily Savage years, or is it?
I think it's seeing him growing up in Birkenhead. There's so many stories about nights out and jobs and different things and getting a whack off his mum and just, you know, just really pushing his luck the whole time. And I think just being so open about who he is as well. It's just, there's no kind of, something that did make me laugh was he's not one for fussy food. He doesn't like his food to touch, which I just thought just says so much. You know, if you go somewhere and they do all this fancy stuff and it's all like purees and he wouldn't eat it, it'd turn his stomach the sight of it. He's just so, can you say so normal? Do you know, it's not gone to his head. The money, the fame, none of it's gone to his head. He's just happy and he's choosing what he wants to do with his life, and it's just hilarious.
And he's had a heck of a life as well, hasn't he? Because he was like, I know I remember, I don't know if it's the same book, but I know I remember reading about when he used to go around to working men's clubs and like he'd have like a box cupboard to get changed in kind of thing, and you know he would get like hassle from like the punters and just like so many stories, but every night he just kept going, and there was a guy who was very friendly with, I can't remember, who used to like drive him round, can't remember his name, and it was like all about the journeys, and we'd all pile in the back of the van and they'd be off to Brighton and here and everywhere, and it just like, the stories are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, he's so sharp and he sees things and puts everything, he can make anything funny, this man. He's an absolute genius, and he's somebody that's been there throughout my entire life at different stages, so yeah.
Brilliant, nice choice,
and
a non-fiction book in there as well, which is good. So that's book number 4. So now number 5, what's yours, Caroline?
My first crime one.
Ooh.
Ish.
It's
got a crime in. It's another classic. Sorry.
It's all right. Don't apologise for classics.
It's Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy.
Brilliant. And what is it about that one that sort of almost takes you back?
This is another one from my all-time favourites list. So again, it's like a powerful sort of character-driven story, and I think one of those, a bit like Jane Austen when you read her, that's relevant to any time as well. So there are still people like Tess now. And in fact, there's a really good Indian movie version of it called Trishna that's amazing and well worth watching. That sort of puts it in a really different light, and you sort of see the power of the story.
Wow, that sounds great. And obviously, you know, is this a book that again you read regular?
Yeah, not as often as like the other two, but yeah, I have revisited.
And have you found sort of new bits or looked at it on a different light from when you read it as a child?
I didn't read this one as a child, amazingly, although most classics, and this is probably why there's a lot on the list, I did read as a child because they used to make £1 ones. Do you remember £1 classics? I could buy more books with my pocket money if I read classics. So I've read quite a lot of classics.
It's good planning, that. Good planning, but that's great. So Tess, that's great. And what about you, Sam? What's your book number 5?
So I'm really excited about this one because we're getting the follow-up finally. I have mithered this author for years for a follow-up, for an ending for this book. So this is Mark Billingham, The Bones Beneath.
The Bones Beneath,
And there's my favourite villain in it, a horrible psychopath, really just twisted, called Stuart Nicklin. And Tom Thorne is summoned to a place in Wales called Bardsey Island. And we were on holiday a few years ago, and we actually drove down so that I could go and see Bardsey Island, but you should really check the weather before you go.
Yeah, definitely. If you're going to
Because I couldn't see even the outline of it because of the fog.
So you just looked out into the fog.
So yeah, I love this book, and I admired Mark Billingham for years for a follow-up, and he's writing it, and I get to interview him finally when it comes out. So Mark Billingham.
So when's the next one coming out? Well, when did that one? When did that one come out?
Oh, this one's from a few years back now. I've honestly, the poor man has been hounded. This one, 2014.
So was that part of a series, or was it like
so there's 20 Tom Thorne books, I believe now. This one's quite an early one. Sleepyhead's the first one in the series. I'm not sure what number this one is. I should have looked that up, and I knew you'd ask that, and I didn't look.
You find, like I do, Sam. So when you get sort of, because you meet some amazing authors doing our job, and you find people that you love all the time. So my top 10 list, when it goes out, is going to have people I found from doing our job on it. But when you meet the ones who are like your favorite authors, you do have like a slight fangirl moment, don't you? Like, I got so excited the first time I interviewed Ellie Griffiths. The first time I interviewed Sid Moore, I literally was bouncing about the house and like
I remember. I did actually go and meet Mark Billingham and have, it's here. There is knocking about a photo of me looking, I thought I was really, you think you're really cool and calm and collected, and I'm just like beaming, like glowing, beaming, stood at the side of him, and he's kind of sat there looking a bit scared. And then this is Love Like Blood, which has been signed by Mark Billingham.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
I'd have placed that.
So where and when did you meet him?
Oh, Manchester, I think it was Waterstones. On Deansgate, and I don't even know what year that was. I'm not good with dates. You'll gather this the more you talk to me. I forget wedding anniversaries and all sorts. I don't forget, I know the date, but I don't know where I am in relation to that date.
Yeah.
So somebody always reminds me.
I'm nodding.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas next week, Sam. Just so you know.
Don't tell me that.
My parents remind me of our wedding anniversary because they normally give us a card.
Yeah.
And that reminds us.
Great. So the book is out, did you say June?
I think it will be out June. Mark's books are generally June, I'm sure.
So we can look out for a fangirl moment when you get to interview him next time.
I went on at the end of an interview that he did with Caroline England, and who I also love, and I had a sheen. It was really gross.
Oh, bro! So we look forward to that. Everybody, get ready for that. You've got a couple of months to prepare yourself to, and just make sure that Sam's bookshelves are very firm, because we have in the past seen accidents. So
no alcohol that day. I think I'll be wired enough.
Great. So that is your book number 5. So Caroline, number 6. What have we got?
Sorry, I'm just going to put it back where it goes, but because it's one of my favourites, it's always here, but I'm a bit scared. No, do you know what? I'm not risking it. It can go there for now. It's not happening.
My number 6, another one of my all-time favourites, and I'm embracing my inner nerd now, which is probably an outer one as well. I'm a massive geek, so I'm going Tales of Earthsea. Ursula Le Guin. So
what is it about that book?
The Earthsea Quartet is it's one of those books that is marketed to kids and shouldn't be, if you know what I mean. It's one of those young adult books. It is so good that everybody should read it. Do you know when you get sort of a good young adult book and you're like, this should be for everybody?
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've got one on my top 10 list this year that's a young adult book, and everybody should read it. And I think people go off of reading them when they're marketed to teens.
Yeah.
Because they don't think that they'll be thingy. And Tales from Earthsea is beautiful. It's character driven, it's deep, it's emotional, it's profound. It's everything you want in a book, but it's marketed to teens, and it really It's perfect.
Isn't it strange how to do that?
Movie.
Strange how to do that. Do it for young teens, but when it's a book that that sort of would interest anybody. But yeah, good choice on that one. And is this another book that you sort of come back to regular, or?
Absolutely. In fact, I have a second copy of it because my old one's getting a little bit damaged, and I want to keep it because it's got fond memories.
So how would you, without sort of giving away that it's a sort of young teens book, how would you encourage other people who are maybe stuck in one genre or whatever, who maybe normally concentrate on crime? How would you convince them to read it?
I think it's a coming of age story, essentially. So it's about a young boy who leaves his home. He doesn't really know what he's going into, and he becomes sort of over the series quite a powerful figure in the world that he's in, but he sort of never loses that lost little boy at the beginning.
Never sort of grows up proper. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, lovely. So as you say, so that's something for everybody to add on the list, just to give that a go. And Sam, what's your number 6?
This was my second favourite book last year. And when I'd written the 7 books down, I said to my husband, what books, if I had to ask you what books you think that you've heard me bang on about that should be on my top 7 of forever books, this was the first one that he said, The Birdwatcher by William Shaw.
Yeah, I've seen you talk about
Waxing
that one
lyrical
before as well.
Oh,
Tell us all about it.
So, William South is a police, I forget what rank he is, does it say? Sergeant, it says. I can never remember the ranks of I have to write it down. So Sergeant William South has always avoided investigating murder, passionate birdwatcher and quiet man. He has few relationships and prefers it that way. So that gives you a really good idea. He's this quiet man who lives, not in the middle of nowhere, but it kind of is. There's just a few houses, and his best friend is brutally murdered. And then what have I just done? Sorry, I'm blinding you. I need to stop fiddling with things. So even though really this wouldn't happen, he ends up investigating his best friend's murder because there's nobody else there. Somebody else does eventually come in, which is Alexandra Cupidi, who is, so this is kind of a prequel before her series. And the secrets and the things that come out in this, and it's told past and present, and it's done beautifully. You literally, you could pick it up and know which part, whether you read in past or present, based on what's written. So yeah, it's just another one that just speaks to you. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. And there's horrific parts in it as well. It's really brutal, but yeah,
but
really
it's good.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And is this a book you've read a number of times, or have you only?
I've read this a couple of times, yeah. But I've only had it for a couple of years, so to have read it twice.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I know.
That's why I didn't bring books.
For anyone who doesn't know this, Sam once did an interview and all the bookshelf just went. I wish you had a clip of it. Had a show.
Oh, it's out there somewhere because we never put anything.
It will be out there, yeah. But actually, that's just reminded me of something else, because with UK Crime Book Club, you also have other channels. You've got a YouTube channel, and I think, if I'm right, you've got a Twitter. So it's Caroline, do you want to tell us a little bit about them and give us the links if you've got them down?
The YouTube channel is just UK Crime Book Club. We set it up at the same time as we set up doing the author chats. So for me and Sam, the whole point of them is that you're raising the profile of the authors, because our group's a closed group.
Yeah.
You can't share the interviews out of the group. So we just put them on YouTube, not necessarily to get subscribers or anything, although that's lovely, but to allow the authors to share them in like their newsletters and their websites and things like that, to just give them a bit more promotional material.
Brilliant. And the Twitter, is there a Twitter, or am I dreaming?
There is a Twitter, it's at UK Crime Book Club, but it is run by my dad.
There is an Instagram as well, but I have been sadly lacking in that the last few weeks. So I have some plans for the new year to really, really get it going again.
Brilliant. So Instagram, and can you remember the? It's
just UK Crime Book Club.
UK Crime Book Club.
Yeah, we keep it really simple because otherwise I'd forget.
That's great. So it just shows that it's not just a case of Facebook, although obviously most of it is on Facebook, but there's all the other opportunities to interact with the group as well. So that's wonderful.
I will just say, Kaz did mention the newsletter earlier on. Ben Bruce runs a brilliant newsletter, and if people email him at ukcbcnewsletter@gmail.com, he will kill me if that's wrong. I feel like that's right, is it? Yeah.
Right, yeah.
They can get their books put in for the month of release, or possibly earlier if they're on pre-order, but I think it tends to go for month of release. And we found some great things in there, and they also help with answers for his monthly quiz as well. So
and it's a great newsletter. So
really is,
that's great. So sign up for that as well. So another sort of opportunity to get more information there on the
author spotlight as well. Who runs the author spotlight? Is that Kath, Lucy and Sarah?
Yes.
So they have a written interview with authors several times a month. I think they all take it in turns to do it. I do read them, but I just can't remember how often they are.
They're fairly regularly, and they're good for authors who don't want to be on like a live video. We have some authors who don't want to be on a live video either because they write as a pseudonym, or they write in other genres that they don't want to be sort of publicly known for. So we use those as well.
Brilliant. And you just reminded me of something else. You also have, if I remember right, in the group, is it a Monday or a Wednesday? You have don't you have like an author promotion?
The author chat special.
No, don't you have like an author promotion thing, or am I thinking of something else?
Oh no, that's daily.
Daily.
We have an author list.
Dad that does that. Yeah, there's somebody author spotlight. That's it. Yeah.
We have an author list in the group, so every group member who's a author can get their name put on the list. Will Templeton puts a list together.
That's it.
Literally prints it out. It's in alphabetical order, and every day 4 authors get a promotion. When we get to the end of the list, he starts again.
Yeah, I knew there was something, but I just couldn't remember.
We try to make everything as fair as we can. In the group, we try and give everyone a shout.
Yeah, so for anyone who's not a member, if you're into crime, and particularly UK crime, you've got to join, and you can see all the different sort of benefits. Anyway, on we go. We're filling your suitcases up. They must be getting quite heavy now. So we're on to the final book. So Caroline, what's your final book in the suitcase going to be?
My final book, I did this like Sam, and I made the list with my husband helping, because he knows me perfectly. He knew some of the answers before I knew them. And book 7 was the hardest one to pick, because I could have picked another one that's like my favorite. I tried to listen to your list as well, so I've gone for one that's really personal. Is one of my favorite authors in a strange way, like it's one of a classic. So I picked The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Wow, great. So what is it about that book that really gets you?
So I like Dostoevsky as an author. I like his classics. I've read quite a few. He's an excellent author, again, very character driven. The crime one I can't remember the name of. It's terrible. It's just gone because I'm on the screen. But, the sort of his most famous one is also excellent, but he was epileptic, as I am, in a time when it was really awful to be epileptic. The Idiot is about an epileptic prince. When I got re-diagnosed with it as an adult, it didn't go away, to be honest, but when I got re-diagnosed with it as an adult, I went to see an adaptation of it, and it was run by the Epilepsy Association, which are a marvelous thing. I still follow them. They're a great resource. They give you so much information and support. And I think for that reason, that's why I chose this one by him, because it's got that really personal link to me.
Definitely,
so it touches me personally because of our journeys.
Brilliant.
If that makes sense.
Brilliant. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. So, and a brilliant story that goes with it too. So, for those people who may want to sort of try the book, tell us a bit more about the actual book.
It's basically just follows the life of this young prince in Russia. But because he's epileptic, he is the idiot of the title. So it's sort of following his life and everything that is going wrong because of what is wrong with him. It's not a happy one. Dostoevsky does write comedies, and I almost put one of his comedies on here because one of my other favorites is one of his comedy books. And they're worth finding because you think of him as this really depressing author, but actually he's got some really funny stories.
Comedic. Great. Wonderful.
Well, you really do like a depressing book. She loves the depressing book. I don't get it.
I do, 100%. So my husband was saying this to me yesterday because I was saying to his parents rang us yesterday, and I was saying that essentially his music choices are music that I call music just let your wrists by. It's like really depressing, horrible stuff. And he was like, look at your list of favourite books. You like the same in book form.
But it's the thing. It's the same with books as it is in music. The deeper and more traumatic it is, in a way, the better it makes you feel. Because particularly in music, you can get sort of, as you say, totally sort of taken away and think it's the like darkest music going, but for somehow it lifts you. It's like
with the idiot though, I find it uplifting that even with all of those things against him, he's still this author that everybody knows. He sort of went over that and rose above it. Yeah,
he stood up and like, this is me kind of thing. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, wonderful. So Sam, what's your last book going to be?
So this book makes me cry, but it's so life affirming. And it's called The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom.
Ooh.
Kaz is nodding. You like this book, don't you?
I like this book, and I knew it would be on our list.
Yeah, it can't not be.
So tell us more about it.
So there's a veteran called Eddie who dies trying to save a child's life, and then it's about what happens afterwards. So he's greeted by 5 people, and the 5 people who have been important to his life, but he doesn't necessarily know them and know the impact that he had. So I think saying anything else would give too much away. But it's something that I think everybody should read. And my current read is by the same author, Tuesdays with Maury.
Right.
And
this is another one.
Me about depressing books when you've just picked that.
But it's not depressing.
So the one you're reading now, is it like a follow-on, or is it like
no, this is actually this is non-fiction. So Maury was Mitch Albom, who is the author's one of his teachers, and as Maury's getting to the end of his life, he spends some time with Mitch, and this is about that time that they spend together, this kind of where Maury didn't know how much he meant to Mitch.
Right.
And when they get back in touch after years and years, it's the most beautiful friendship. It's really powerful. I'm about halfway through, and I'm savouring it.
Brilliant. But they both sound great books, and say something a little bit different. But you've had some great choices between the two of you. We've it's not all been crime. We've had a good mixture, fiction, non-fiction, and different genres, and been great books. Now I've got an extra question here that you might not want to answer because you might not have made it public yet. But So, feel free not to answer it if you've not sort of decided or you've not sort of published it yet. But what would you both say is your favourite book of 2021?
When are you putting this out?
Tomorrow.
Kaz, when's ours going out?
Either tomorrow or today.
Oh,
mine's already out, so I will tell you mine.
Go on, you tell us yours. Sam might want to hold on to hers, which I totally
No, I think it's fine. I think we could tell
Okay.
you. I think we'll try and get ours out at the same time.
Go on then, Caroline, what's yours?
My favourite of 2021 is the Bow Street Society books by T.G. Campbell. Absolutely love them, and it came from Criminal Shorts. I read her story in Criminal Shorts, absolutely loved it. And then they came up in the auction, and because I'm lucky and know that my dad had the things, I knew what day they were coming up, and I deliberately bid to win them.
That's another thing we've not mentioned, the auctions as well. But anyway, there we go. So tell us more about this book.
So they are kind of a collection of people who come together as a society in like Victorian times. And so they're all like these disparate people, like one's an illusionist, one's a newspaper editor, there's a female artist, and the woman who's in charge of the society chooses the best people who are part of it to go and investigate whatever current case they have. So the sort of rotating list of people who go might change every time. And then they solve kind of cases in every book, and it is literally just my perfect book. If it had a little hint of the supernatural in, it would be my perfect read. It doesn't quite, but it's still it couldn't not be my top of the year after I discovered it.
And is that a book that actually came out this year?
No, I don't think so. She has had one out this year. So in the series, there's the current number 6, I think, came out this year.
But this what actual one is your favourite book that you've read this year?
Yeah, I'm going with the first one's called The Case of the Curious Client, but the whole series, I've read the second one while I was off ill over my birthday and things, because I just needed a pick-me-up. And I love them. I've got the first 4, I think, I won in the auction, and I'm very excited to have all of them. And I'm just going to stalk her and buy everything that she ever writes.
Great, I love it. And what about you, Sam? Are you going to tell us?
I am going to tell you. I've just got it off the shelf behind me. This was the first book I read this year, and there have been some fantastic books this year, but I loved this book, and I love the woman who wrote the book. I've got another one of hers that I bought months ago and I've not had a chance to read, which is really frustrating because there's just been no time, but I get to read it over Christmas, so that's nice. Sheila Bugler, Before You Were Gone.
Ah, lovely.
So I read the ebook of this right at the beginning of the year, and then Sheila sent me a signed copy. She has no idea that this is my favourite book this year. Can't show you. This stupid light I've got, you can't see. I'm trying to turn it so you can kind of see the writing.
Just see slightly there now when you turn it.
So the Dee Doran books are some of my favourite books ever. I love the Dee Doran books. And in this one, one of her cousins wants help finding, she's convinced that she's seen her dead sister and nothing will shake this thought from her, but she's seen her over and over. You know, she died when she was a child and she's seen her so many times, and they really want to help her. They really want to help her to be better, and really don't want to say too much.
No, don't say too much. Just give us an overview. Don't no spoilers.
But yeah, I mean, the settings that Sheila uses are beautiful. The set in Eastbourne. I love Dee. She's just such a fantastic main character. And one of the other Dee Doran books was on my top 10 last year as well. This woman, I just love her, and I love how she writes. And it's one of those that you really just lose yourself in, and you look up and you think, it's gone dark. Or I need to pick the kids up. You know, if I'm going to read a Sheila Bugler book, I have to set an alarm if there's somewhere I need to be, because otherwise I will not look up until it's gone. So
Brilliant.
yeah, Before You Were Gone is my book of the year.
Great,
2021.
love it. And funnily enough, I was in the same boat in that the first book I read is my book of the year. So it's
And
weird.
what was that?
It was the Coffin Maker's Garden.
Stuart McBride.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely
okay.
loved it. Yeah, it was just like, it's just one of them where whenever I see a cliff top now where it's all eroded, I just think of that book. It's just like,
My first read of the year is book 2.
ah.
It only got
Wow.
displaced by T.G. Campbell.
Go on, you got to tell us what it is now.
Well, I think I could, because they're kind of, I don't know if they are actually just number 1, if you know what I mean. I don't know if I don't have a number 2 read of the year. I think I just have a joint number 1 of the year, actually. And my joint number 1 is Witness X by Sarah Moorhead.
Oh, you loved that
yeah.
book, and I've still not read it yet.
I'm the same.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I've got the ebook, but I've not read it yet. So go on, tell everyone a little bit more about that.
So they work out this way of looking into people's memories. So you can look into other people's memories, and they obviously can then use that to solve crimes, because they can look into the sort of people's memories who might have committed the crime. And that's kind of the thing. It's sort of set in the near future. And I think I love Philip K. Dick, he's probably my favourite science fiction author. And if you think of things like Minority Report and stuff like that he's written, this bears very, very close comparisons to that kind of genius level of writing.
Right, looking forward to.
There'd be more books like it. She needs to write more.
Yeah. I keep pestering her to get her on the show as well. So hopefully she'll hear this and this will give her a reminder. Because it's funny, because when I think I posted something about the book, and one of my friends said, she used to be my teacher. In Witness, so it's like small world. But yeah, another great book, and interesting that you've got like a joint first choice. So brilliant. So it's nice to
rate them. I honestly can't. I don't. If you ask me on different days, different ones would be top. So I think they just have to be number 1 together, because
I didn't know we were allowed to do that. That's cheating. And now I'm looking at my list and thinking, hold on, my top 5 could be joint 5. My top 10 could be joint 1.
No, I can separate out the rest of my top 10. Do you know what I mean? They're in the right place. But like, if you ask me tomorrow, Witness X might be top.
Yeah. I've not got my top 10 for the year ready yet, and I keep looking at it. And I've not read that many books, so I don't know how you manage when you've read like 250. But every day it changes, because I think, there's only the top one, the Coffin Maker's Garden, that is definitely my sort of top one. But the other 9 just keep changing every day. But
my top 3 were easy. They've been my top 3 since I read them. Do you know what I mean? I've read them and I've known they were going to be there since I read them. They were always going to be on the list. The others were a bit tricky. Yeah,
it takes some doing, doesn't it? Anyway, we shall go on and we shall start getting more things. So we've got all your 7 books now, and it's been great to hear about your book choices for 2021 as well. But we're now going to look at other things that you're going to take to the island. Now, as I say, we believe that on the fictional island there is about 1 day an hour of electricity. So you're allowed to take a CD with you. Now, a CD can be music, it can be an audio recording, or it could just be a playlist that you put together yourself and sort of burn the CD. So Caroline, what is your CD going to be?
Oh, this was the easiest choice of the thing.
Really?
Yeah, this was 100% the easiest choice of all of it, right?
Wow.
Because at the minute I said I had to pick a CD, my husband said this CD, and it is the perfect choice. It is, and no one's going to have heard of it because I've got really weird music. It is Our Live Album is Better Than Your Live Album by Real Big Fish.
I've heard of them because you've told me.
Never even heard of them.
Real Big Fish are a ska punk band. They were famous in the 90s. They had a big hit called Sell Out. I'm literally almost quoting words off the album. I've listened to the album so many times, and I've seen the band. I must have seen them in double figures of times. You can't go and see them and not come away happy.
Great.
They're probably mine and my husband's favourite live gig to go to.
Wonderful. So
And
yeah.
we quote bits of the live album to each other sometimes. It's like an in reference thing. You know, we'll be listening to something and someone will just come out with a bit from this album. And so it's got to be that, because if I was stranded somewhere and I was miserable, I'd need something to make me happy.
I love it when people come up with bands I've not heard from before, because I can go on Spotify and have a listen and play about. So I will be investigating Real Big Fish. So Sam, what's your CD going to be?
So this was not easy. And then once I'd kind of had a few in my head, I did the same thing. I asked my husband, and this was the one he said. And I thought, well, if that's the one you think it is, then you're probably right. So it's Nevermind by Nirvana.
Brilliant. And what is it about that album that you love?
You can lie down in a dark room with it on loud, probably in earphones for me, and just everything else just slips away. You can just get lost in it.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain's voice is beautiful, and it's been one that's been a firm favourite for decades. There's so many other bands that I could have gone for, but yeah, having it confirmed by the person who probably knows me better than anybody else was, yeah, it's definitely got to be the one.
It's how you're going to do it, isn't it?
Say again.
It's how you're going to do it. I had like loads. I was thinking of loads of things, and my husband was just like, no, it's going to be that one.
Yeah, there's just so many, isn't there?
It's a song for every mood, isn't it? If you're feeling murderous, there's a song for that. If you just want to relax and get lost in it, there's a song for that. I don't often feel murderous. Honestly,
not often. I just had to Google it because I thought, I'm sure that's the album, and yeah, there's been that much controversy over that album. I don't know if you've heard about it, but
I haven't. I knew there was going to be something. I was going to put my foot in somewhere.
Over the years, there's been court cases because I can't just remember the full story, but the baby that's on the front cover swimming.
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah, and it's gone on. It's apparently there was like, when it first happened, he sued his parents or something like that because they'd allowed it.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? How awful. When you don't think about the album cover, let's just ignore the cover. The music's great.
But it's big story, and it sold loads of albums as well. So it's like, just simply the story. So that's great. But yeah, good album. So next is a DVD. So DVD can be obviously film, television series. It might be live music or many other things that it could be. So Caroline, what's your DVD going to be?
Again, I think this one was quite easy.
Oh,
I do not.
Do you not? I've gone, and this is one where I like the movie and I like the books. I picked Practical Magic.
And what is it about that you enjoy?
I love the movie, and my husband has written this note, right? He said I had to tell you this, that I own 2 DVDs of it, and it's on the streaming sites that we subscribe to.
So he gets watched quite regularly then, I think.
That's his note.
So how many times a year do you watch that?
I don't know, it's my if I'm feeling sad. So if I'm feeling sad, if I'm at home, if I'm poorly, if I just need to like watch something and lose myself. Yeah. It's kind of a movie. I like things like that. Although actually this time when I was home poorly, I watched Christmas movies.
So tell us more, for those that aren't aware of more about Practical Magic.
I don't know how you explain it without giving away spoilers. The book series by Alice Hoffman is marvelous if anyone's not read them, and they're very different. So the movie and the books are almost 2 separate things, but they're both excellent. It follows like 2 sisters. One is kind of they're both witches, but one's trying to sort of be normal, have children, have a normal life, and one's kind of gone a bit crazy and has a wild life, and they get drawn into some kind of bad choices, and it brings them together.
And if you had to make a choice, would it be the book version or the DVD version?
Always the book version.
But
Book version. This one is close.
There's only one I know of, actually. I asked this to a lot of people. There's only one I know where the film is actually better than the book, and that was Green Mile.
Okay.
So
I've neither read nor watched.
I couldn't really get into the book, but I love the film.
The author of Fight Club, Chuck Palahniuk, I'm going to pronounce that really badly. Fight Club, genuinely the first film I ever saw was on a date with my husband. So our first date was to go and see Fight Club.
Nice.
Nice, yeah, romantic.
No, I like it.
The author of that actually prefers the film. He says in interviews that he thinks the film did a better job of it than his book.
Yeah, there's not many times that you get it where the film is better than the book, and most people say, "Oh no, yeah, it's always a book, it's always a book." But yeah, that's the only one I think for me. But again, personal choices. But great. So, what is your DVD going to be, Sam?
I'm still deciding.
So, well, if you've got two, tell us them both.
I've got about 5.
Oh God, could be here a while.
I'll be quick. The First Wives Club. Love that film. Friendship, revenge. These women who come in and out of each other's lives at different points. There's humour. There's emotion. Yeah, loved it. I really like, I don't even know if you can get this on DVD, I'm sure you can, The Good Life.
What, the TV series? Yeah.
There's an episode called Backs Against the Wall where the garden gets flattened by a storm, while Tom, I had to think what the names were then. Yeah. Tom's got a bad back and Barbara has to dig up the entire garden by herself. And if I'm ever at a point in my life where I think I need to just be still for a while, it's half an hour where I just sit there and reset myself. I love that.
I think you need to pick that one then.
Yeah, I think I do. I think you need to. It surely must be available on DVD. I'm just going to.
I know I've got it recorded on the Virgin box because I watch it a lot. I've got the whole lot. I've even got, there was a live special where the Queen went to visit the set and they recorded it. I've got loads of different bonus bits.
I can't actually see it. It's not coming up, but I'm sure it may be. The Good Life is probably a difficult thing to see.
Might be on BBC iPlayer, you know.
Yeah, probably. It's probably. I don't know. Probably on that as well. But yeah, great series. I remember it, and really good. Great.
And yeah, do you know, I am going to pick that because I must watch it probably at least 5 times a year, maybe more.
Wow. So
it's one of those that half an hour if I'm up before everybody else and it's raining outside and it's quiet, I might wrap myself up on the couch and watch it.
Great, nice choice. So 2 great DVDs there. So now the next thing, because obviously it's it's an imaginary island, so we can be a bit imaginary in the the next thing to choose is a food or ingredient or sort of ingredient, and it can keep recurring, so it'll keep spawning on the island, for want of a better word. So, Caroline, what is your food or ingredient going to be?
Well, I have a question about this. Can I ban a food instead?
Can you have what, sorry?
Can I ban a food instead?
Oh, can you ban a food? You can have both. You can choose one to take and you can ban one, but just let's hope that Sam hasn't chosen the one that you ban.
I won't, no, mine isn't the one that she's banning.
Go on, tell us both, Caroline.
So I'm going to ban spearmint. I absolutely hate it. The smell of it makes me feel sick. Cannot stand it. I use flavourless toothpaste because I can't stand spearmint. If you buy it, especially.
So have you had a bad experience in the past with spearmint?
Yeah, I hate it. I never liked it. And when I was little, I used to take tablets for my epilepsy because I used to have quite used to have proper grand mal style fits. That's not the word for them now. They're called tonic-clonic seizures now. But I used to have those quite regularly. I used to wake up in hospital. I go to bed at night, wake up in hospital in the morning and not know how I'd got there. And I took for 2 years these tablets that you had to chew, and they tasted of spearmint.
So that's where it comes from.
And I can't, just the smell of it in a room makes me feel sick, so I'm banning it.
Yeah, so I don't blame you, because it's that connection, isn't it, to your childhood from the tablets and things. So yeah, so that's the one you're going to ban. So what's the one you're going to choose to take?
So my favourite food, and again, this has got my husband's thing all over it because he says I've got a bread-related hierarchy. Like bread-related products. He asked me once. He was like, "In your top, like," because toast in our house is like is an absolute. It's like a staple food. So I'm picking garlic bread.
Garlic bread. So is that like a garlic bread sort of kind of pizza thing, or is it just bread that's just got like loads of garlic just soaked into it?
I'm an equal opportunities garlic bread fan. It can come in any form.
I thought we were going to get into one of these conversations about bread, on whether it's a bat or but it was just going to go on all day.
No, I have a hierarchy of like things that kind of bread related. This is what my husband says, of like bread related things, because like most of my favorite foods are kind of bread adjacent.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. But yeah, as Peter Kay would say, garlic bread. Just got that going off in my head now. Peter Kay saying garlic bread. So that's great and very enjoyable. It will be too. So what's yours going to be, Sam?
Well, I'm with Kaz on the spearmint. I love peppermint, but spearmint, no.
This is why we can go to an island together.
Yeah, probably a good job that spearmint doesn't grow on a Cumbrian island.
You know, if you're going to send us to Montague Island together, my food will go really well with Kaz's.
Oh, go on.
I'm taking a cheese board. I'm taking liberties. I'm taking a cheese board. Because I can't pick a favourite cheese. It's just not a thing.
So
although probably
that was going to be the next question. What's your favourite cheese?
Probably a Stilton. I know Kaz is pulling a face. No, like blue cheese, blue mould on cheese, yum.
Blue mould on cheese, yeah. I would just try to think of it as blue cheese, not blue mould on cheese.
I don't think of it as blue mould when I'm eating it, but the more there is of the blue, the better.
Yeah, just think of it as blue. Don't think of it
Kaz is never talking to me ever again.
Right, Caroline, what's your favourite cheese? Make sure it's on the board.
I don't really like cheese.
So Sam has chosen that on purpose then, because
genuinely I forgot she doesn't like cheese. Completely forgot.
I don't drink. I'm not a big dairy product fan, so I like cheese if it's melted on things. But I wouldn't eat a cheese sandwich or go for a cheese board. I'm not a big dairy product fan. I drink soy milk.
Interesting. Sam, tuna and cheese talking about melted cheese.
Don't eat tuna.
You don't eat tuna. Oh, tuna and
no,
melted
keep
cheese.
That tuna breath to yourself. No.
Yeah. Tuna and melted cheese is just to die for. It's like, so you've got your toast, your tuna, and your melted cheese on top.
But we can melt the cheese on the garlic bread, and that would be nice.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
There you go. You got a deal there, haven't you? So that's great on your food. So that'll keep you well nourished. And next is the big one. It's your luxury item. Now, we've had all kinds of wonderful and weird things, because obviously it's a fictitious island, so you can be a bit over the top. We've had people say pen and paper, right through to a motorhome.
I was going to say, who was it who said a boat?
I can't remember now.
Somebody said a boat and it made me laugh.
Yeah. That's a clever idea, because then you can leave.
Boat to escape, that was it. Yeah. I can't remember who said that now. So, Caroline, what's your choice?
Can I have my husband?
If you must.
Well, if I can't, because he doesn't pack up small.
Now I feel really bad.
He wouldn't fit in a suitcase.
No, he wouldn't.
He absolutely wouldn't. He's too tall.
Just
So
a bigger suitcase. But
no, I don't think there's a suitcase that would fit him, to be fair.
Right, stop cheating and pick an item.
Oh well, if I can't have my husband, I'm going for my cuddly dinosaur.
A cuddly
Oh.
dinosaur. So
But-
does your husband
What
know
I mean
that?
is,
Ah, love it. So does your husband know that he's being compared to a cuddly dinosaur?
yeah, it helped me make the list.
And what is it? Is it any cuddly dinosaur, or is it that particular one?
That particular one.
So why that particular one?
He bought me it.
I like it. I like it. I like the connection.
So if I
Wonderful.
can't have him, I'm going to have something he bought me.
Yeah, good idea. And what about you, Sam?
I wish I'd have gone first. Jesus. I'm going to tell you what I wrote down if I can find where I've blooming put it.
She's feeling bad now because she didn't say her husband.
Well, I did think that, but I thought that was cheating.
Yeah, I thought that too. That's why I
Well,
thought.
if people can take the dog or the cat, which people have done, then there's no reason why you can't take your husband. But
Well, they're essentially just a large pet, aren't they?
yeah. We won't go there.
Do you know, when we were little, I'm sure I've told this on an interview as well. This is what my mum used to say, because we used to move house a lot when we were little. We never stayed in one place for long. So we'd ask for a pet, and my mum's response always used to be, "We've got your dad, and that's enough."
Oh.
That is literally what she used to say every time we asked if we could have a pet.
Oh my
So
word.
come on, Sam. Put that
Oh,
fence.
right. Okay. Well, I'm not quite as geez, why did I? I'm going to read what I wrote. I'm going to read what I wrote down. So I was torn between heartburn medicine. These are not my answers. Heartburn medicine and a nasal spray because my sinuses are ridiculous. I'm too young for this nonsense, honestly. But eventually, I went with one of those the lighters that you light a barbecue with. A barbecue lighter. There you go. That's what they're called. You know, the kind that you can keep the flame away from your fingers if you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Because I like fire pits, and if I'm going to be on an island and there's going to be hopefully a nice view,
Yeah.
you know, I'm going to want to sit with a fire lit, read, and this is how important that is to me. I did consider taking an unlimited supply of alcohol.
I'm going to give you an
I
out
went
here,
with lighter.
Sam, because you're going with me, who is very good at setting fire to things.
See, this is the thing, right? I was thinking that there's probably trees everywhere, but I'd freeze to death before I managed to rub two sticks together successfully.
But I'm excellent at setting fire to things. So you could probably pick something else.
So can I bring some
have
lager,
set fire to myself.
some wine to go with my cheese?
Yeah.
And
Nobody alcohol.
if the fireworks there, you can just pour a bit of wine on and, like, you know, the alcohol just.
I don't think we can be friends anymore, Jeff. Why would you do that? Why?
Only a bit, I did say, only a bit.
No,
But interesting.
rude.
So you're going to go. So we've got a cuddly dinosaur and we've got a supply of wine. And Caroline's a master fire starter, we've just found out.
Member of the Association of Stage Pyrotechnicians.
Ooh.
Yeah, tell him what you did, Cass.
Tell him what I did. So I lectured on special effects and the science of it for things like the film festival in Leeds. So I'm quite good at special effect things.
Sam's lost it.
I learned also from a concert, I learned about pyrotechnics. So I've done lots of little fire techniques, but once I went to somewhere, and I'll tell you where it is after I've told you the story. And I did this trick where you made a fireball and you hold it in your hand, but I've only ever done it with my husband helping. So when I did it on my own, I got some of the fuel on my hand and I set my entire hand on fire.
Oh my God.
She was fine, so I'm allowed to laugh. But look, I'm crying. Maston, I was going to go
this is
everywhere.
where I'll tell you where it was.
Oh.
Because it was at a job interview.
A job interview. How do you set fire to something in a job interview?
Well, it's a special talent only I have, and it was myself, so I don't think it's that bad, right? And, I rang my husband afterwards, and his response, okay, was they're going to ring every other place in the county and tell them what a lunatic you are.
And what was the job interview for?
Being a teacher, obviously.
I'm going for an interview for a job, but I'm just going to take some fire along with.
Honestly, absolutely flooding with tears laughing.
That should have been recorded on video and kept for.
My finest moment.
For future students to say, this is the way not to do a job interview.
And my current students at the time thought I was a legend.
I think you're a legend.
Brilliant.
I had blisters all over my fingers.
Oh, brilliant story. Job interview. Yeah, that's just like that. You could write a book on that, I'm sure.
You could probably write a book on my career, to be fair. No one would believe it, so it's fine.
Oh, but great choices, and I think you're going to both have a great time on the island.
We definitely have a great time.
Yeah,
you will.
Together with booze.
You won't with endless booze. Sam just won't want to leave, so Caroline will be like building a boat, and Sam will be saying, "No, I don't want to go." Just go. An endless supply.
You have a high hope of my skills, right? I don't camp. I refuse to go anywhere unless it's got a coffee shop and a bookstore. I have no wilderness skills at all. Sam will be the one building the boat.
I think you might be starting your own sort of coffee shop and bookshop on the island. But there we go.
She knows how to camp and stuff. I don't. I refuse. I will not camp anywhere.
Put me on tent and everything.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know about surviving in the wild, but you know.
Yeah,
but I'm doomed if we have to do anything.
Off the coast of Cumbria, it might be a bit windy and a bit cold. Right, now we've got one final question that is one that I'm sort of surprising on you. And you might not want to answer because with what you do and all the authors you speak to, but I asked this of Donna and Linda, and also Adrian and Rebecca on our other special shows. And it's one way of sort of ending the show, but I say you might not want to answer it. But if you were both allowed to take one author with you to the island. One. Who would you take and why?
Will Templeton, because he's tall and he can reach stuff.
What? Will Templeton, why?
He's tall and he can reach stuff.
Yeah, you won't let me take James.
I was just going to say why. Yeah. So just because not because of his great wit and charm and everything.
Oh, he's amazing and he's hilarious and he's a beautiful man. But yeah, he's tall and I'm short. So between us, we can get all the jobs done. Be fine. And he's a brilliant author, so he can make up stories and regale me while I drink wine in front of the fire.
Sounds good to me. What about you, Caroline?
Well. I struggled with this one. I don't know. So the very first author I think I've met and had any kind of a relationship with is Ellie Griffiths. I met her in 2012.
Right. So you'd take her to the island with you?
Potentially, because she's just a really nice lady. And I think if you're going to spend time anywhere, you want to pick someone that you'd get along with. Definitely.
Yeah, you don't want to be falling out with somebody when you're on an island and you can't escape. So yeah.
Will does not want to be stuck on an island with me, but he's gonna.
Love it. Well, thank you both so much for everything today. Just before we go, does one of you just want to remind everybody of how they can become a member of UKCBC, where to find you on Facebook, etc.?
Take it away, Caroline Maston.
Why is it me?
It's your group.
So you find us on Facebook at UK Crime Book Club. You have to agree to the rules. to join, but they're very fair. We have very few of them.
Yeah, and that's another great thing about the group, because it is fair, and it's also they do a lot for, I don't know what the correct term is, but I will say visually impaired, to make
Excellent
sure
term, yeah.
to make sure that people you know, put descriptions on photos and all that. And as I say, we just keep the conversation and keep everyone happy. And there is so much knowledge available in there as well. So thank you both, ladies. I hope you both have a wonderful Christmas on the island. And you never know, Santa might come past and rescue you on, you know, on his way round.
Not too quickly.
Make sure you drink some of the wine first. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Joe. This has been so much fun. Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it in the end.
Wish you hadn't got the ugly laugh on camera, but you know, it was worth it.
Oh well.
But you're great.
Thank you, ladies. Have a lovely Christmas, and we'll speak to you soon. And keep up the great work with UKCBC.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.